This is going to be possibly a quick video. and I shouldn't have to, but I'm going to anyway. I apologize for the lack of updates. I mentioned that summertime's here. Also, my voice again. Been talking all night long, not a problem. Camera shows up. I am not a person that belongs in front of the camera. That's just who I am. To start with a quick tangent, I don't know if I talked about this. Yay, Duplo. My wife and I went out to VV in Welland. Again, I can't remember what I talked about in previous videos. And we stopped by Effingham. Yes, the town's called Effingham. And there was a, it's not antique, but it's mostly antique. A guy has a, it's not even a consignment shop, it was all his. So he had an old garage that he converted, I guess he owns, and he just has stuff there to sell. And I love, and I absolutely adore places like that, because you'd never know what you're going to find. He had some really interesting toys. This is a really old guy. He had some really interesting toys going back in the 50s and 60s and 70s, and into the 80s. There's Transformers there, but he had some old sheet metal garages from the 50s and 60s that were stamped with the printing on it. And I think I talked a long time ago that my cousin Uppy, my cousin Albert, who is very much older than I am, one of my older cousins, gave me his toys in a box, and in it from the 60s was this mechanical, electrical, steel, stamped steel, futuristic tank thing that I promptly wrecked. Wish I had it to this day. And it had, there was a lot of, this probably during the Apollo missions, it had us this almost like moon, the rocket module, the cone that was on wheels, and you wind it up or press a button, and it goes, zzz, and moves around randomly, and the sides pop open. Really cool stuff. But he had stuff there that reminded me of that, the stamped metal sheets that with all the printing on it, and the little gas pumps and stuff like that. But also old furniture, old parts and pieces from various instruments of destruction and or construction going way back. Outside he had barrels and wrought iron this and whatever that. We were just meandering on the way home from the Valley Village in Welland. That day we went out there because Valley Village. My wife wanted to check it out, so hey, I'm on board for that. The Valley Village had Lego in it. I didn't buy it. Sorry, Dave. And I was gonna post, and I thought I'd just be like putting salt in the wound. That's a quick story. I'm gonna finish the Effingham story first. So I decided to meander on the way home. You can take Highway 20 home, right? Highway 20 goes from basically our backyard here all the way out to Niagara Falls. It's the way if I'm not in a rush, that's how I get to Niagara Falls instead of taking the QEW to 420 and going to Niagara Falls down Stanley. I'll take Highway 20 because Highway 20 starts right here at Confederation Park in Stony Creek, Hamilton, goes up the hill, the escarpment, what we call the escarpment. Look it up. And then it makes a sharp left, and it goes straight back to Niagara Falls, driving through the hub of the Niagara Peninsula, Smithville, Ontario, the hub of the Niagara Peninsula. And then if you blink, you'll miss Bismarck, but nice little town. Effingham, and I always liked the name Effingham. I worked at a camp out there, Camp Atascawan, which is down the street for the Cub Camp, but I worked at another camp that was right in Effingham, and I always thought Effingham was on the south side. But when we were driving back from Welland, and I went to take some back roads, Also, we come to this little town, this little 4-way stop that had nice buildings and barns and whatever. And this is downtown Effingham. So we saw, there was a little ice cream parlor there, like stepping back in the 50s. As we standing, I stopped for ice cream or cake. Oh yeah, we had carrot cake. Love carrot cake, done right. And then right next door was this antique / place for its used stuff. And we spent an hour walking through there. But during my walkthrough, I found these guys, and I've had them before, and I might have them here now. But I found them, and I said, "Hey, they got Lego here. I'm gonna buy it." And the guy had seriously no price on them. He says, "What do you want to pay me?" I said, "I'll give you $5." I didn't look him up in Bricklink. I have no idea. To me, they're way worth less than Duplo, but original Duplo. But I have no idea what they're worth. And if I actually looked them up right now and they're 15, I'm going to go drive out there and give them more money. But that's the only Lego I could find in the building, and he said he didn't have any more Lego. But this weekend, Sandy and I were at the Valley Village, just down the street again, here in Stone Creek. And we walk in there yesterday, because today's Sunday and yesterday was Saturday, obviously, and we were just not doing anything else in the house. So we said, let's go over to Valley Village just to get out. We were busy puttering around the house, and let's go for coffee or go to Valley Village. And we walked in there, and there was 7, 8, 10 bags of actual Lego. There's 4 or 5 bags of mixed, mostly Mega Block and other crud. But there was 7, 8 bags of Lego. The problem for me was it was all new Lego. It was all the play, the light play, the dark play, all the new colors, and it was mostly Friends. Now again, I don't mind Friends. I actually like this. I like the Friends theme. I own some Friends sets, but I don't need more of it. I do not need more Friends sets. I got so much stuff right here on the floor again that I have to sort through. So I said I'm not interested in buying. It was Town 2 because they had the white, I would say 6x4 top of the police cars. If you remember the police cars of the last bunch of years, the blue sticker on it with no white piece. I don't need any more of those because I got tons of those from other used lots, and I think I bought a few off the shelf back in the day, like 5 or 10 years ago. I don't need Town, and I don't need Friends here in this house now. So I took a picture, and I was going to post it on Facebook. And, hey, look, Dave, more Lego. But I thought, nah, I'm not going to do that to him. Like, it is amazing to me. Now, there have been, this year, a few times we've gone into Valley Village, and there's 0 Lego in the entire building. I'm usually shocked. But we wait a week, we go back, and there's a bag or 2. But I am getting very, 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 very picky. Very picky about the bags I buy. The one time we were up the hill at the Valley Village there, I don't regret not buying. They were like $19.99 a piece. There was like 20 bags or whatever, or $12.99. I can't remember. It was $12.99 a piece, and I got 2 bags of. What does it say up there? $12.99. I gotta get glasses. I'll bring them over. Oh. And this is how bad my eyes are. They're $24.99 a piece. But look how big that bag is. Look how big it is. And I grabbed, now I won't remember, this piece here, which I've talked about before, for the Aqua Sharks right down there. And look at that, trans neon green. Could be trans yellow. But, and the wing pieces here. So I didn't see any classic space. The little thing there, the octagon, the front Blacktron 2, and of course the piece that was ubiquitous in my collection until I sent a whole bunch to my friend down in the States. Got rid of a lot of it. And so I got this one, and I got it for this guy too, thinking I'm gonna build another robot command center. Oh, but yeah, so there was some trans yellow right there. Trans yellow. And the big radar dish and other stuff, a boat hull, like I need more boat hulls. But there was, oh, hey, right there. But so there was like 15 bags of this stuff, which is my era, which is right in my wheelhouse, And I even said, nah, I'm gonna buy 2 out of the 2 dozen or whatever, how many bags were there. I'm just gonna buy 2. I would have, in a previous time, I would have come home with all of them. I was getting my discount anyway, 20%, because we have the 20% card. And they were just stacked and stacked on the shelves. And I went through every single one of them. And I said, oh, and they had well, you got these white ones. I think these are the small ones. And then the medium-sized blue ones that came in insectoids and a few other things. They had a bag full of, had those wheels in them. And I'm going, no, I don't need it. I got a bit. Now, if they were black, I would have bought them because, you know, I'm short a few black wheels right now because I just, you know, did another Blacktron 2, whatever it's called, with the wheels on it. And I was short 2, so I had to use dark gray. But they weren't black, they were blue. I said, I don't need blue. So I am not weaning myself off of Lego, because that'll never happen. But I am weaning myself out of buying used Lego that I don't really need. Nice to have. Again, it comes down to my 3 criteria: space, time, and the dineros. Those 3 things. And the dineros is not like I had the money. The money wasn't, but I couldn't justify. My Dutch roots are really coming out to the forefront, where I couldn't justify buying all the bags. One of the biggest reasons, then I have to sort it. I have to wash it and sort it. And I love doing it. You've seen all my videos doing it. I don't mind doing it, but it's like right now, it's like, the room's a disaster. I did 2 shows. I got one coming up in November, which gives me some time. And I want to spend some time doing general cleanup, organization. I got some other smaller ideas I want to work on of where I can use my collection exclusively. And I do want to make these videos of these bags that I got over the bunch of years. And I don't want to buy more bags to add to it. So it's like, eh. So don't be shocked. I am slowing down. Now again, all bets are off if I see tons of classic space in a couple bags. I mean, this has a little bit of classic space across a bunch of bags, but it was more Blacktron 2. It was Aquanaut. It was Town from back in the day. I see some Towns at the boat hull, mid to late 80s. And I'm going, it's right in my wheelhouse, but I'm going, and also factored in my head, I'm not saying I'm benevolent to the world, but I'm gonna leave it for somebody else. I'm sure they're gone now. This was like months ago. I have enough. So it's like I have enough of what I want. So it's like, yeah, let the next person have it, Dave, if you're in the area. So all this to be said, I am slowing down right now because of the summer. I finished in the garage, and we got camping coming up and a whole bunch of things that there are going to be substantially less videos on my channel right now. And I don't mind that for me because, of course, this channel is never about getting the hits and the subscriptions, even though I'm over 1,000 now. Thank you very much for all you people who do that. But this is me to you, the people who want to be here. So, but I got a couple emails of concerning, Dave, where are you? We haven't seen you in a while. I decided to make this video saying this is what's going on. I got other stuff going on that I may make some videos about. I don't know. But life is great. Life is really good. And we're all good over here. And, but what I also made this video 15 minutes into this, 14 minutes into this. I wanted to make this video to say this week coming up for my viewing audience. You're going to be bored out of your tree. You're going to be so bored. I found a video. I was going through my hard drive and freeing up space, and I go, all right, what's this 1.4 gigabyte video for? And so I said, oh, let's look at this thing. And it was that 2.5 hour video of me setting up the layout in the driveway last year. I compressed it. I sped up the whole thing, and you can go back in my year ago, last summer, the driveway display, where I compressed it down to 15 minutes. But I found the original raw video, and all I did, just because I wanted to put something out there, as I cut the video into 30-minute increments. The last one's 15, but the rest of them are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's 5 of them. I split it up, 30-minute increments. And so I just release them every day the next week, Monday to Friday. So you're going to be bored, because there's a lot of me not talking and setting things up. But you can see in very, very real time how I set up the layout. Now again, because I was talking and doing it in the driveway, it took longer, and I didn't do the monorail track or the train track on this video. But I talked about a few things, and you guys can see the progress of how I do the layout with the wiring, without, my high-speed turbo video from last year. And I do apologize. I am very dry on the talking in that video. But I wanted, because I deleted that video off my hard drive. I wanted it for posterity, so I uploaded it to YouTube. And so enjoy it if you want to. You don't have to watch it. It is just me going on and setting up the layout. I do sometimes, since I uploaded it, I went through there and I'm going, oh, I could, because I already do this now, because when I watch my setup videos, I go, oh, I can do that better, I can do this better, and blah, blah, blah. I myself get inspired to make the layout better and easier to set up by watching my old videos. So watch it if you want. There's going to be nothing after it. It's just 30 minutes every day of that. And then I think the last video has me talking about it when it's all set up in the dark. So if you just want to wait till Friday and just watch that last 15 minutes of me talking about the layout after it's all lit up, that's perfectly acceptable too. As always, if you have, well, first of all, I'm gonna make sure you guys are okay, straight up. Because that's important to me. Your kindness and consideration towards me has been just fantastically awesome, and I really do appreciate it. But I wanted you guys to know that I'm perfectly good, and just that it's summertime, and that's what happens. But if you guys have suggestions or comments or whatever, leave them. If you don't have comments, don't leave them. I did get into it. I think I already talked about this. There was a troglodyte. There was the malcontent and Neanderthal that started posting on one of my videos, who took umbrage with me from something that I do not do in my Lego world. But I do get into sometimes a discussion and or debate on some other channels about other stuff that has nothing to do with Lego or anything to do with any of my hobbies, just kind of world stuff. And they took umbrage with me personally, instead of, making a point about see, I don't argue the person, I argue the problem. I do not disparage people. I disparage their points. I point out their fallacies. I point out their erroneous ideas or interpretations of what's going on. I never attacked a person directly, because that's called an ad hominem. Look it up. An ad hominem fallacy is something I really work hard at avoiding. All fallacies I try to work hard at avoiding. I'm not a debate expert. I'm not a philosopher, but I did do some good research into fallacies and erroneous and the opposite of critical thinking and stuff like that. So I get into discussions sometimes online with heavy-duty topics, religion and politics and blah, blah, blah. I try to make my case. Somebody posts something that, is, I think, mildly offensive or radically offensive. I'm going to say, hey, that point, that argument, that whatever is erroneous or fallacious. And I will list out why, and then the debate ensues. But this person didn't like the way I was doing that, and so they looked up my YouTube channel, and they came over and just on a random video pointed, hey, you such and such, blah, blah, blah. I don't know where you get off saying this over there when all you do is play with Lego over here. And I'm going, that's already a fallacious thing. Like, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. What my hobbies are has nothing to do with the actual argument. See, it's called an ad hominem when you attack the messenger and not the actual message. Yeah, they came over here and we had a brief back and forth where I kept on asking him to provide because I have crossed multiple platforms and crossed multiple topics and multiple threads where I get into the discussions. I said, which one are you talking about? Hey, that fell down. And he wouldn't tell me. He just kept on being fallacious. And I'm going, oh, whatever. So I deleted that entire thread. See why. I don't know if I blocked him. I don't need that here. I don't need that negativity on my channel. My channel is not about negativity. I like to be inclusive. I like to be a safe zone. I like to be a proponent of equality for all. I like to be a person where anybody else, whatever their walk of life, whatever their, as long as it's, I won't even say legal. Legal is not the word I want to use. As long as you're not negatively impacting other people's lives with who you are and who you want to be, as long as you're not negatively impacting other people, including yourself, as long as you're not doing that, then I have nothing to say against you. I have nothing. I literally have nothing. I have no qualms, no issues, no problems, no angsties or whatever. Oh, they're ruining society. No, if you're living your life the way you want to live your life, straight up, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're living your life the way you're living your life and it's not negatively impacting anybody else. Now, again, let's get in some nuance here. Other people are going to take umbrage, and I'm not going to, don't want to talk about this, but let's get in it really quick. Hypothetically speaking, you're trans, or somebody's trans, not you, but somebody out there is trans. And they tell you, or tell me, or tell the world, hey, I'm trans. And somebody gets upset about that, that's on that somebody, not the person who's trans, the person who is upset about it. Because I lived through, again, I would say the gay movement started well before I was born, obviously. The coming out of the closet started well before I was born. But the biggest steps of inclusiveness of people being gay to be accepted in society was during my lifetime. Because prior to I don't let's pick a date, 1970, after I was born, you didn't see gay people portrayed in a good light hardly ever, right? And then gay became in the 70s, and then especially in the 80s. I wasn't mainstream, like, whatever. But you watch one of my favorite movies, Mannequin, and I should have pointed out on the romantic comedies that when I talk about movies a while back, and you got Hollywood, and Hollywood was one of my favorite characters in a movie. Like, I'm gonna say this, Hollywood was one of my favorite. Just ate up the scenery, just chewed it up. Hollywood, like, it was just, he was awesome. I don't even know the actor's name. It was awesome. And then the teenage angst movies that came out in the 80s and 90s, and there's always the token gay person, whatever. and then all the TV shows that went into those kind of Buffy and whatever, all the shows in the 90s, whatever, where they dealt with gay issues. Like, I grew up with this, right? And I didn't have a problem with it when I was a kid. Now, again, I grew up in a small town that nobody was gay that I knew of. But I think about it, but now I think, no, I would never be offended as somebody I know came, when I was 6 or 7, I don't care. I don't care. It's not affecting, I'm not gay. I'm pretty cis and hetero myself. But you live you. And if you, like one of my very good and dear friends, finally accepted who they were, and well, not lately, it was like a long time ago, but from when we were late teens and whatever, there was suspicion. But they are finally living the life they want to live. And all I have is utmost happiness for them, because I love this person. This person was a very good and dear friend of mine, and still is a very good and dear friend of mine, for almost 4 decades now. And back then, I felt serious. I wasn't oblivious. Oblivious here. I didn't dawn on me that this person was struggling outwardly about this, but he always seemed a little off. Like not fitting into society, like always like trepidatious, whatever, about being wanted. And my entire life, and this is again my blessing. I talked about this before. My blessing for my entire life is I got to be every step and every day of every week of every month of every year of my entire life. I got to be who I wanted to be, who I was. I never ever felt in my entire life like I had to hide who I am, ever. And yet there are people out there who had to, in my generation of growing up, because they would be shunned and ridiculed, and not from my circle, but other circles, beat up. It's just like, are you kidding me? Somebody's getting beat up for who they are. Now, I've already go off into too many tangents. I really wanted this to be a space that not even worry about it. It doesn't even come up in conversation. It really doesn't. Because we're talking leg over here. We're talking camping over here. We're talking canoeing. We're talking scuba diving. Nothing to do with anything. But I would say lately, this very, very, I'm feeling lately that there's a few steps back now. What? Is he? Okay, I gotta go. I'll talk more.